And now that it's actually starting, I'm going to begin this like always. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers of all ages, it's Saturday, so you know what time it is. Let's talk. I'm your host, Blazing Ace Nelson, and I've got quite the panel with me today. Coming back from the earlier podcasts, as always, are both GQ Asian Dude of Too Asian For You.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And once again, coming back, the Southern Gentleman, OmniCloud V7. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good, man. What's going on, stream?
And also joining us is a friend whom I actually wound up meeting through going through the Gamergate hashtag over the past couple of months or so. I'm not sure if her mic is muted or if she'll be able to stick around for too long.
No, I unmuted myself.
All right, but say hello, everybody, to Miss Katie. Katie, say hello to the stream in the chat.
Hello. Thanks for joining, everybody.
All right. This week...
we've got some really bad echoing going on in the background. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, I can hear Blazing Ace twice.
Yeah, it's...
Oh yeah, it's like feedback.
Yeah.
Well, I think someone's microphone... Sorry, I think someone's speaker is actually going. Someone's probably got the... Someone probably has the YouTube stuff up right now.
Nah, it's not me.
Let me see.
Yeah, let's figure this out real quick before we go forward.
Yeah, I'm on I'm on a headset, so you can't hear
Yeah, same here. So.
Well, it looks like we got the echo pretty much taken care of. So, before we get started with this week's discussion, I want to observe a couple moments of silence. The Killer Instinct community just lost one of its best a couple nights ago.
What happened?
After one of the matches at a local tournament, the Runback, one of the players, Terrence Moore, aka Pusha T, wound up collapsing, and I remember hearing, I think it was that he like had a heart attack, like literally right after the match. I mean, GQ, you hear anything else about it as far as details?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat you're in. I was actually watching Maximilian Dude's stream when the stream monsters said something about Pusha T, leaving, and then everybody got into a panic that he passed out and he got rushed to the hospital. And being in the stream, you kind of don't know what to believe until you get the facts, right?
Yeah.
So Max went through some channels, and I believe it was kind of like he did kind of have a stroke, unfortunately. The weird thing is, like, he was playing Max in Killer Instinct not too long after that happened, or before that happened, and which was rather jarring, from any of us in the FGC for sure. But yeah, even last night, Max did a charity stream for him, which God bless that man. And it is definitely a big loss. I heard he's a very, very nice guy. He hung out with Max, even though Max didn't know him very well. He did kind of offer him rides and make sure he was cool and that he wasn't alone and stuff like that. So from the very little that I know, everything was good about Mr. Pusha T. And as a Killer Instinct player myself, it is a big loss for the community, especially when I believe he's one of the founding active members of the new KI.
Yeah, he's pretty much been with the community since beginning of season 1.
Yeah, and I guess in short, I want to say that I'm new KI before he had to leave us. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm just pretty happy with that myself. I'm not happy that he left. I'm happy that he got to see a new KI.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the headlines for that last night. I think Kotaku posted something about that, but since all this garbage has been going on with the gaming media, I didn't click on the article, so I had no idea what actually happened.
Yeah,
I really hope
keeping up with Twitch streams and other YouTubers is pretty much one of the best ways to get news these days, to be honest. And
Yeah, that's where I get all my information from now.
and I was actually watching the charity stream that Maximilian did last night. It was really good to see the community come out in force like that. I mean, I think the goal was like 5,000, and before Max finally finished the stream, they hit like 5,800, and I believe they're still donating. I can try to find the link and post the link to the charity because all the
Yeah,
proceeds donated there are going straight to Pusha T's family for the funeral.
Yeah,
yeah. Post a link to that for me, please.
No problem. I'll start digging it up probably after the stream's over.
All right.
yeah, and I think what's cool about it is that when in the gaming community, FGC seems to be the scumbag of the of the gaming community. So it's
Scumbags of the scumbags.
yeah, it's kind of nice to see stuff like this that that happen to give us put us in a better light at least. I mean, unfortunately, it has to be in somebody's death.
I don't know, man. That's kind of tough between the FGC, the Call of Duty crowd, and if you follow Blackbuster's videos, the Sonic fan base.
Oh, jeez.
They're pretty bad.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like battling nerds, it gets pretty raw.
Yeah.
No kidding. But speaking of charities, I also want to bring you guys' attention, if you haven't been on Twitter lately, that there are actually 2 Gamergate-related charities going on.
Oh man.
There's one that started from this like major typo, like one of the Brianna Wu was trying to talk to the European division of DICE. I forget what she was actually trying to get a hold of them for, but she tweeted at DICE Europe and wound up getting a European fruit vendor instead. But one of the fruit vendors, who's actually an fellow indie game developer, actually set up a charity to go towards fighting world hunger.
Oh, nice.
So I'll find the link to that one, and then there was also the Gamergate Stomp Out Bullying campaign, which is going on as well.
Yeah, I recently, of course, I follow Miss Sarkeesian, and she did receive that death threat, and she canceled her performance at was that Utah, I believe?
Yeah.
And I also posted on my Tumblr saying that stuff like that is not excusable at all, regardless of how passionate you are or how much you disagree with somebody. You never threaten somebody's life.
All this over video games. I mean,
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. Absolutely, man, for sure. I mean, and also, like, I don't know that guy. I don't know what his history is, but how is she affecting that guy? You know what I'm saying? Is he getting like butt hurt at home? You know what I'm saying? Like, like she annoys me, and in my opinion, but she is doing something good for the for the female crowd. She is a voice for them, and unfortunately, when you're somebody that is gonna have an impact in the community, some people are gonna hate you. That's kind of how it is. You can't everybody doesn't like everybody.
Yeah, I'd say that actually there's a very large chunk of the female crowd that does not like the way that Anita is trying to speak for most women. But I don't like a lot of the ways she does things, but I understand that what she's trying to do is a good thing at its core.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily approve of her approach or a lot of the things that the messages she spreads, but I know that I don't believe that whole thing that she's a con artist, etc. I don't know that I believe that.
Mm.
So it pretty much comes down to good intent, shoddy execution.
Very shoddy execution. Because I believe she has some valid points, but like
she does. Her points are very strong and they are very valid. The thing that I think a lot of people get upset with her videos is the fact she doesn't cover both sides of the story.
Right.
And so what happens is like these guys that are extremists, and I'm doing air quotes right now, guys. You can't see that, but
GQ air quotes.
GQ Asian air quotes trademarked. They get so upset, they get so hurt about these things that she's saying about their video games, the things they love, and they can't handle it because they have no voice. They want to defend it, but instead they're letting rage take over. So that's a very
I would say that isn't always the case. That certainly is the way that a lot of people would like to describe anyone who stands against the things that she is saying. That oh well, they just they want to protect their games or this or that. I would say that me personally, I'm a feminist myself. I do not like the way that she is presenting a feminist point of view as something that is it's quite extreme. I mean, she takes the concept of women in video games are sometimes represented in a very bad way, and we need more diverse characters, and she just takes it and runs with it way past the finish line, and makes it just this huge thing that. I agree that it's a problem, but wow, a lot of the stuff she says is such as that video games can cause sexism in people. I mean, I do not. I mean that is a message because her voice is so loud. That is a message that is reaching a lot of people, and if they are not well versed in the subject, they will blindly believe that. And so a lot of my friends who are very well-meaning, I have a lot of friends that just really stand behind her, and then I will come in and say I present them with various facts, various studies done to show this is not true, and they're like, wow, why didn't she talk about any of that? And I'm like, well, because that wasn't part of her message. So I mean, I do agree with you that she's not showing both sides, but if she did, a lot of her points would no longer stand.
Right.
Yeah, and she also made very outrageous claims, like she said games such as God of War and Asura's Wrath turn male gamers into rage monsters, saying that if you play these games, it shows you that you're supposed to use anger to solve all your problems, and that's not the case.
Yeah.
What's
funny?
The Hulk when we play those things, man.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying we don't turn into the Hulk whenever we pick up the controller and start running around,
Yeah.
delivering prison beatings to gods.
Yeah. An interesting point about that is that she says that games cause these things, violent games cause these things, but actually, from what I've heard from a lot of people that do maybe have anger issues, playing these games actually helps them get those feelings out. Exactly. If they're very frustrated, instead of doing something or acting in real life, they can go play these games, and the game is a fake environment. They're not hurting any actual people. And they're able to get that out, calm down.
Example of that, honestly, would be me.
Yeah, same here.
That's why we play fighting games, Ace.
Exactly. Speaking of which, we still up for later on today?
Yep, absolutely.
Fantastic. Alrighty. Well, now that we've got the Gamergate News of the Day segment out of the way, it's time for that nostalgia feels. How about that? All right, so the past couple of weeks, I've been discussing with the panels that I've had on the stream, old school gaming, like stuff on the Sega Dreamcast, PS1. I mean, last week was pretty much devoted squarely to gaming on the PlayStation 1, and I kept mentioning how, for anyone actually trying to get into gaming with earlier consoles, the PS1 is at the same time one of the best, but also one of the most difficult consoles to go at it from because the library is just so expansive.
Dude, you sent me a link, and I believe you asked me a question if I wanted to join last week's stream. I was so just wrapped up in watching you guys and hearing you guys talk about those games. Like, y'all brought back a lot of memories for me. And, man.
I cannot blame you.
Last week's stream was fantastic. Fantastic.
And hopefully we'll be able to bring that magic again into this stream because we're continuing what some would consider Sony's legacy of dominance in the console market. So this week, we're going to try, anyway, and focus all on the era, focusing on the PlayStation 2, GameCube, and the birth of Microsoft as a console competitor with the original Xbox. Woo! So we'll start with just one really quick question, and I'm going to go down the row from left to right, so I'll be starting with you, boss man. What what would be, let's say, your top 3 PS2 games?
Top 3 PS2 games. Man, all right. Well,
man.
I'm gonna go, since the library is so expansive. I'm gonna go with my top 3 most memorable. Since I don't have time to analyze all the games. I'm gonna say the launch title. I believe it was the launch title. It's that long because I'm an old man. Dynasty Warriors 2, absolutely. Just
Oh my
because,
goodness.
yeah, that the first time I picked Zhao Hudun and mowed down 100 people, my first 100 kills, I was hyped the whole time. Just because it was, I'm a big fan of beat 'em ups. I mean, Ace, you know that. You know yourself. You're a fan of that as well. And that was the first genre where you felt like a superhero, that you have this kind of power, and better, and of course represented in Chinese ancient history, so it's kind of awesome at the same time. That was one of my most favorite games, and also I didn't have a memory card, so I played that first Yellow Turban Rebellion stage a lot. um, the second one, of course, let's see, I believe it was when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 got finally released on the PS2. And it's memorable to me because I was an arcade rat at the time, and I was going through some stuff, relationship stuff, in which arcades helped me heal. I don't know, that's kind of weird, but it is true.
That's very true.
Yeah, and when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 got released on the PS2, it kind of saved me a lot of money in quarters.
Oh, we got one more guest on the panel. You might want to go ahead.
Somebody's having a lot
What's up, guys?
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, this right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is my cousin, believe it or not. Greg, good to see you.
How you guys doing?
We're doing all right. Quick question. You might want to go ahead and disable the camera, but keep the microphone on.
How do
Yeah, right there. Yeah, this will actually help the stream move a little bit faster. And yeah, you got a lot of background noise where you are. Are you at the house?
Kind of. Yeah, I'm at my place.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for interrupting you, man. Keep going.
No worries, man. Yeah, like I said, vs. Capcom 2 was one of my most popular ones because you see a console translation
I think
of
there's an echo.
favorite arcade game. It's pretty good. And of course, man, I think one of my most favorite ones of all time is gotta be God Hand. It's just, that game is just so crazy and outlandish that I don't know. It's one of those games that is just so memorable to you. You talk about it with your friends, and they don't know what you're talking about because only 5 people bought the game.
I tried to fanboy out the moment.
Unfortunately.
But anything from Clover is one of my favorites. But God Hand's probably the most memorable top Clover game. But aside from those 3, there's many more, and I don't want to bore you guys with all that stuff. So go ahead.
All right. We'll go ahead and go over to Katie next. Trey, I'll head over to you after her. All right.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So, Katie, your top 3 favorite or most memorable PS2 games?
Sure. Just real quick, a suggestion I have for people who maybe have not been in a lot of streams. Anytime you're not talking, if you could mute your mic, that would be very helpful. But mine, oh God, that's geez, I don't. There's so many. Definitely, Silent Hill 3 is my favorite game of all time. So obviously that one's gonna be first. I could cheap out and just say put Silent Hill 2 and 4 in the next spots, but I think I should vary it. So I would say maybe Okami's definitely up there. I definitely like that one a lot. Let's see. A lot of my favorite games for some reason are PS1 games. I really liked. I personally, let's see. Oh my gosh, what even? Oh, all right. I guess I'll have to say I will cheap out and I'll say Silent Hill 4 for the next one. A lot of people would probably have Silent Hill 2 over that, but I personally prefer the story in 4. So yeah, those would be mine. And then I'll probably, in like an hour, I'll think of a bunch of other ones that I would have rather put in that spot, but that's all right.
Or who knows? You might even think of them over the course of the stream.
That's true.
All right, so Trey, ball's in your court, cousin.
Yeah.
Top 3 favorite or most memorable PS2 games. I'm not just talking the ones you've watched me play either.
That would be like hundreds of games, by the way. I think my first favorite game would have to be. You know what? I really liked Valkyrie Profile 2. Like that was one of my all-time favorites, and I'm sort of surprised I never got to play Valkyrie Profile 1. And I watched you play that one, and I always really wanted to play it, so I went and got it, and it was just really awesome because how awesome the story was, and they added 3D to it, so it was really nice to be able to like get used to all that. My second favorite would have to be Soul Calibur 2 because they had that journey while like my friends coming over and me whooping their ass was a lot of fun. They had that like journey thing where you had to fight, like you had to go through the entire map, and that was just like days and days and days of awesomeness right there. And my third favorite game would have to be, I'd say Star Ocean 3. Like I love all those RPG games, and those really were like memorable to me when I was younger, especially.
All right, some really good picks, especially Star Ocean. When you mentioned Soul Calibur, I thought you were actually going to talk more about Soul Calibur 3.
Yeah, I have never actually played Soul Calibur 3.
We need to fix that.
Yeah, that's a really good game.
And Omni, you're up.
Man, that's so hard. Okay, off the top of my head, the number one spot has to go to Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence. Metal Gear has always pushed the bar when it comes to releasing sequels, and they always add more to the games to make the experience even greater than what it was in its progenitor. All the boss fights in that game were just phenomenal. They great characters, great character development, great writing. The second will have to go to Soul Calibur 2 for me as well. Just me and my brother staying up all night, just beating each other's behinds half to death. And I got so good at that game to the point where I would play like a lot of my friends, and I would let them pick my characters because they thought I was being unfair by picking certain characters. So I had a phenomenal time playing that game. And the last one, I would probably have to say Shadow Hearts Covenant. Amazing RPG. I wish they would have released it apart from the Final Fantasy X release, so people will actually played that game. From the characters, the battle system, everything in that game is just amazing. Even the characters, Yuri, Karen, Geppetto, Joachim. Oh, and my favorite part of that game was when you had to climb the tower with Joachim to get
Yes.
What was it? To get his ultimate mask or his transformation.
Oh yeah.
The most hilarious thing I ever seen in my life. I'm not gonna spoil it. People, if you have a PS2, go on Amazon and get these games. They are so well done. Very great RPGs. So those have to be my picks. But there's so many more I could have named. So many more.
No, I hear you loud and clear on that one, especially with Shadow Hearts Covenant. I mean, I still have my copies of both Covenant and Shadow Hearts from the New World. I want to eventually get my hands on another copy of the original Shadow Hearts, as well as to pretty much complete the story, go back on the PS1 and get a copy of Kodelka.
Yeah, mine is the opposite. I have the first Shadow Hearts and Covenant, and I got to play a little bit of From the New World because my brother had it, but by the time he got done with it, he had already got rid of it before I could get my hands on it. So Ah, it sucks. So
That
yeah,
hurts.
I gotta get another copy of that game.
Now, as for me, my top 3 favorite or most memorable PS2 games, we're going to start it off with the first game that I actually owned for the system. Now, for those that don't know me personally, I normally make it a habit of picking up a game for a system I don't own, so that way eventually it motivates me to actually save up so that I can pick up the system itself. For the PS1, the first games that I had owned were Battle Arena Toshinden 2 and Star Gladiator. For the PS2, the first game that I owned, which is again probably the #1 most memorable game for me, Bloody Roar 3. Back on the PS1, I had played the first 2 Bloody Roar games and loved them to death. The music, the characters, the combat, just the novelty and the innovation of transforming from a seemingly normal human fighter to these amazing half-beast warriors with like enhanced agility and strength and just I don't know, I guess somewhere deep down I always thought being a werewolf would be kind of cool, or at least having that sort of transformation. So getting the
Werewolves are
chance
awesome.
Twilight.
getting the chance to play as Yugo, especially in Bloody Roar 2 and 3 when they had him adopt more of a boxer's fighting style, was so much fun. My second most memorable game wouldn't be Dynasty Warriors 2. It would be Dynasty Warriors 3. And for everyone who's subscribed to my channel and watched my earlier Dynasty Warriors videos, you know the whole story. But if you want the TLDR version, brother came home from barracks one day while he was in the Marines. Him and one of his friends were sitting in the living room playing Dynasty Warriors 3. I came in, saw it, and seeing Shahudun and, oh my god, who was Joe using? I think he was using Guan Yu. But seeing Shahudun and Guan Yu on the screen just mowing down hordes of enemies, it reminded me of like the old school beat 'em ups like Streets of Rage, Double Dragon, and I was hooked. As for my third most memorable PS2 game, I gotta go with one of my favorite and one of the more underrated RPGs aside from Shadow Hearts, that being Rogue Galaxy. Rogue Galaxy is, you could say it's like Star Ocean in its presentation so far as, cel-shaded anime style, and it's, like Star Ocean, it's a space opera. But the actual feel of the game, from just the look of it and how the characters are presented and how the story and the settings are actually presented, it's more old-fashioned seafaring space pirate style. And the real-time combat is incredibly unique in that you have access to not only your character's main weapon with attacks for that, but you also have sub-weapons, which are like ranged weapons, firearms, shurikens, cannons. And just the fluidity of the combat, not just transitioning from, the world map and the exploration areas to the actual combat itself, but also just the free-form use of items as far as using various collectible items to enhance your character's stats or teach them new techniques. It's jaw-dropping in its simplicity, but at the same time in its depth, and it gets even deeper when you get into crafting weapons. But I could literally go on and on about this thing for a hell of a lot longer than the length of what I plan the stream to be today, so I'll just stop there. So yeah, Bloody Roar 3, Dynasty Warriors 3, Rogue Galaxy. And with that, I guess we can move on to.
I feel
Well,
you
I
on
guess.
Dynasty Warriors.
From that, I'd say we could probably move on to just general discussion because, like you guys have said earlier, the library for the PS2 by itself was so expansive over its record-breaking 12-year run. I mean, even when it seemed like a lot of games stopped being produced here in the States when the PS3 and all the current / previous gen systems were finally hitting the market, in Japan and a lot of the other territories, the PS2 was still going strong.
Oh yeah, the PS2 had an incredible library. Probably one of the best since the SNES.
Yeah, PS2 is, man, probably one of the best. I mean, it's got way too many games in my opinion, which is not a bad thing.
That's
But
possible.
but when you run a game store and all you have is PS2 games, it's kind of jarring to have, like, man, how many games did the PS2 have? You know, it's just crazy. Unfortunately, like, you know, as a reseller, when you have a lot of copies of something, the value of it goes down. So though there are a lot of games on PS2, if there's too many copies, like, you know, your collection doesn't really go high in value. If you're a collector, that's kind of all I'm getting at here.
Yeah. Oh, also taking a quick look at the YouTube chat, just noticed that Melodramatic just joined the stream. How's it going, Mello?
Mellow!
I'll keep an eye on the chat to respond to you in a. I'll keep an eye on the chat to respond to you as soon as you get the chance, because I know there's a bit of a delay between what we're doing now on the stream as opposed to what shows up on YouTube. But yeah, back to what you were saying, GQ. I mean, I'm actually tempted to, like, go on Google just to see if I can look up, at the very least, like, numbers-wise, how many games were made for the PS2. Let's see if we actually have a number.
Can you even type in a sidewards 8?
Okay, first entry up here on Google is the Wikipedia entry, and as of June 2013, 3,870 released games.
That sounds actually really low.
3,000?
Whew, yeah, 3,000.
And like
sounds...
400 of them are Madden games.
Alright, and it looks like Katie's going to have to bow out for a little bit so she can actually get down to working on some art. So, Katie, for the limited time that we had you, it was good to have you on. Good to, at the very least, have you geek out over Silent Hill with us for a little bit.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I will definitely continue listening. I just, as I said before, I can't be in a stream and work in Photoshop at the same time because my computer just kills itself. So, yeah, I'll keep listening. So, I will talk to you guys later, and it was nice to meet everybody.
Nice meeting you too.
Nice meeting you too.
Yeah, good meeting you, Katie.
All right, so I'll probably see you in the chat then. But just thinking back on some of the other games that I had played on the PS2, which, again, three almost 4,000 games. That is just stupefying. And then we add to that the backwards compatibility, so you can add all your PS1 games to that library as well.
And see, that's the problem that I have with Sony today. Why not just give us backwards compatibility? We don't need PS Now.
Well,
I don't even understand what PS Now is.
yeah, and to fill you guys in on where the industry is going, you do know that the industry all wants to go digital. They want to eliminate middleman, right? So That's PS Now is a streaming. You know what is that like Gaikai is in Japan? Gaikai is a streaming service where you can access movies, games, any potential kind of entertainment or media in Japan, and they're using Gaikai to I guess promote backwards compatibility on your PS3, PS4, and what it is, which AKA in America is PS Now. And PS Now is going to be like, hey, you want to play Bloody Roar 4? All right, it's going to be on PS Now. So if you subscribe to us, you can play Bloody Roar 4. But I think right now the way it's set up is that you can either rent or rent, or own on PS Now, which is like 3 different tiers of payments. So rent is like for an hour, maybe like $1, and then I think the demo is like an hour, and then to rent's like 30 days, and then to own I think it's like 90 days or a year. It's kind of crazy. So that's kind of what the industry is going towards now, and that's why they're getting rid of that like disc backward compatibility, because that would be kind of like hindering the progress of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's okay for people who don't necessarily own those games, but for people who actually own these things, I don't want to pay for it a second time.
Well,
that's just
and
my thing.
the thing too is like, what if people don't have internet?
Yeah, that too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because there's contrary to popular belief, there's a lot of areas that don't get internet, and if they do, it's not a great connection by any means.
for
And
sure.
then again, what if you're in the military? Like, say you're in the Marines or the Navy. What if you're on ship?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, when they do these like demographics, like analytics and stuff like that, they only consider like the popular crowd, of course. They don't consider everyone. They consider the majority of people that are buying their stuff.
Yeah, they consider the demos where the money's coming from.
Exactly. So, and I always tell these guys, like, because I have these kind of conversations at my store too. It's at the end of the day, no matter how much they cater to you, they're still a business, and they're gonna go what's profitable and what works.
True.
So.
All my PlayStation 1 games are useless.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, why not try to appease both and then just make us pay for it? I mean, I wouldn't mind paying for backwards compatibility.
Yeah, I was doing some kind of like my own personal research and stuff like that, and the reason why the PS3 initially had a backward compatibility, I don't know if you guys know this, but the PS3 library was kind of limited when it first started. So what they did is the backward compatibility of the PS3 is kind of a red herring. It's kind of to distract you from the fact there weren't that many PS3 games out. So they're like, oh, play your PS2 games while you're waiting for PS3 games to come out. And so what happened is after the first generation, when it went like before the first Slim model, they took away the chip, the emotion chip, and they replaced it with software emulation to save money on the system. And then eventually they took off their software emulation to save money overall, and they transitioned to the Slim, which cost-wise probably wasn't that big of a difference, but there was enough games out in the market for you to be like, hey, why bother with PS2 games and graphics? Well, you can get the next gen stuff. That's how they get you. They kind of slowly lure you into the other side. So it's all a business strategy. There's teams of these guys in their company talking about this right now. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense.
Right.
But again, just thinking back to the numerous PS2 games that I played, and thinking back to an earlier conversation I remember having, it always struck me how there are some games where you get what it says on the tin, like most of the popular, like Madden, most of the popular sports games, most of the popular fighting games. But then you have something like, say, I don't know, Rumble Roses. And initially you are just, like, blinded by the cheesecake and the controversy.
Well, I have a feeling that when some of these game designers design these games, they kind of want that. They want to shock you. They want you to talk about their game. So people like, hey man, you ever heard about that game, Rumble Roses? Oh yeah, always wanted to try it. So that's kind of how it is.
Yes.
And I don't know if you did this on purpose, Ace, but the big topic right now about that is this game called Hatred.
I saw the trailer for that, and my first thought immediately was just, man, they are really trying to bait people into this, aren't they?
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I mean, clearly when the game is written, the game is just utter ridiculous. It's just like, can you imagine like a group of people in the room going like, we're gonna make a game about a killer that just kills civilians, like that's crazy, right?
It's like that. It's like I said on one of the other streams I was listening to. It's like that Michael Douglas flick, Falling Down.
Yeah.
With Nathan Explosion as the lead.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's kind of I think that's what they were aiming at. That's the shock factor. And clearly, and people are saying that there is no shock factor anymore because we were like, I guess, what is that word? That we're just used to it.
We're desensitized.
Yeah, desensitized. And the funny part is, the irony in this is that the fact that we're talking about it, we're not desensitized.
Nope.
Yeah. Because if we were desensitized, we wouldn't even be talking about, oh, Hatred's this awful game. No, we'd just be like, oh, here's another violent game out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of how people don't understand that. Like, the fact that you're bringing it up that we're desensitized, that means we're not.
But back on the Rumble Roses, and I guess with a game like Hatred as well, I suppose I could give it the benefit of the doubt as a gamer. But I mean, games like Rumble Roses, and let's say Final Fantasy X-2, and of course going into the Xbox with like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball and the Dead or Alive series in general. These are games where if you're actually able to sit down, if you actually give it a chance to sit down and play it, they are surprisingly solid.
Oh yeah.
Like Rumble Roses is probably one of the most fun wrestling games I have played outside of WWE All-Stars.
Yeah, I mean, I've played it. And it was when I remember when it came out. I was actually working at GameStop in Chicago, and I was like, "What the hell is this game?" and I was like, "Oh man!" And at the time, I was like really into WWF, and I was like, "All right, well, chick wrestling, awesome. Let's play this game." So I rented it out, and I was like, "Man, the gameplay mechanics are actually pretty solid in here." And surprisingly enough, it's made by Konami, right? And I was like, Konami's really not known for a wrestling game, so they did a pretty solid job making a nice, solid wrestling game.
And it's a solid wrestling game with
mud wrestling.
Well,
Mud
even
now that you just said that, I think I played Rumble Roses before.
So you brought it back.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even though I guess you could say it has something of the plot in the game is much like the clothing on most of the characters.
Thin. Yeah, I remember Rumble Roses now. Okay.
But what they do have as far as a plot, as far as like at least what's supposed to pass for a story, it's at the very least enough to keep you engaged. It's enough to keep you engaged to continue actually playing the game, trying to get deeper into the gameplay itself.
Wasn't Rumble Roses that game that had like humiliation moves?
Yep. That was the one.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, Rumble Roses. I don't think I've ever played that game before. But then you brought up mud wrestling. And I was like, wait a minute.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, man, that game is. I mean, the graphics were pretty good. I mean, and they even did a remake called Double X on Rumble Roses Double X on the 360. I don't know if you guys know that.
Played it.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and I mean, there are a lot of janky wrestling games out there, but this one is pretty solid, given the fact that it is a bunch of girls wrestling, and that shouldn't be why you play the game. It should be because it's fun and it's entertaining, you know.
And I'll admit it. I mean, I didn't buy it myself at first. It was actually one of my friends that picked the game up for his wife because she wanted it.
There you go, man.
And I was just like, I just went over to visit, and I'm like, hey sis, what you playing? Wait, is that Rumble Rook? Wait, what? What? It was like 5 minutes of wait, what? Followed by, let me get on the stick. And that was it.
It just goes to show you, man, it doesn't matter what age, creed, gender, race. You can get in any kind of games. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter at all. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's a video game. You turn it off and you move on with your day. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that these things are solely intended just to be fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When it goes beyond fun, I think that's when the problems start happening. You know. So.
Yeah, it's time for you to go outside.
Too often these days.
Use some of that vitamin E, man.
Of course, you know, up here in Bellingham, seeing as how this place gets the most cloud cover per year, vitamin E is kind of a premium.
Now we have lamps at Costco that give you vitamin E. Ace.
What?
Yeah, we have there's lamps that they made to emulate sunlight, so you don't feel depressed.
Yo,
That's
Costco.
Yeah, Costco, man. Moving on up.
Speaking of Konami games, anybody in here play Zone of the Enders?
Oh,
I gotta bring that game up.
Because, man, Konami, can I please get a third installment? Please.
Okay, so I've been working on, I've been doing some research on Zone of the Enders 3, right? And I've been kind of following Kojima and his, of course, pet projects because he takes forever to make video games.
Yes.
After after Phantom Pain, guys, if we yell loud enough for him to be like, hey, give us MGR2, but if you don't give us MGR2, we'll settle for Zone of the Enders 3 from Platinum.
Bruh,
I do not need another Revengeance game. I'm still playing the ever-living crap out of the first one.
But what I'm saying is that we don't even need Konami for that. We just need Platinum to make us the game.
Dude, people almost like Thomas said in the first video, people almost went to the hospital playing Revengeance. If Platinum makes Zone of the Enders, it's over.
That's some full ICU wards right there, man.
Man, Platinum knows how to bring it. You know, and as a Xbox One owner, I saw at E3 that they're making a game called Scalebound.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like a mixture between Dragon's Dogma and Devil May Cry.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so I'm just excited of course it was a teaser trailer, so it was all CG, right? But I'm excited for the first gameplay videos of that game because Kamiya brings it to the table for sure.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, guys, Bayonetta 2 is getting flawless scores off the board every day.
Oh my god, I
don't have a Wii U.
I think Bayonetta 2 is going to be the game that I buy, which will lead into me picking up a Wii U.
Yes,
that's happening.
Man, it's so good. I was watching a few streams on it, primarily Maximilian's stream, and the game is just all hype. Like all his games. It's so hype. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't have a Wii U, so I have been restraining myself from watching any type of video footage of it because I know how I get when I want a game, and I really don't need to spend the money right now.
I played Super Mario Brothers Wii U for my cousin once. That was a different experience. Watching younger kids play Mario is not. Oh my god, they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Do they team up or they just are competitive?
They were teaming up, and it's 4 on 1, and this all you have to do is fight the boss. All you have to do is jump on his head 3 times. Somehow, you manage to lose that fight with 4 people.
That's because they don't have grenades spawning and airstrikes. They don't have any of that stuff, man. kill streaks. They don't got kill streaks.
I was getting ready to say, man, look at Miiverse posts, man, if you really want to shake your head.
I'd rather not.
People can't figure out how to open red doors on Super Metroid. How in the...
Okay,
oh my goodness!
So, like I said, I'm gonna show you some of the experiences I have at the game store, right? So, I keep telling these kids that the games they're playing right now are nothing compared to what they were in the 8-bit era. And because they're talking about how games are like super hard right now because, or they're too easy to beat. I was like, did you play it on hard? No. Well, you played on easy. That's why you beat it. Did you start playing on hard? He's like, yeah, but it was too hard. I was like, are you serious? You get checkpoints, you get save files, you get all these things that help you beat the game. They just hold your hand, and then you have to kind of sit with it until you beat the game. Now, if you try playing Contra in 3 lives, you got to remember patterns. You got to remember pretty much where your trajectory is going when you jump. That you're very limited in what you can do in those games. All you have
keep an eye on which weapons spawn where.
Yeah, all you have is your memory and your reflexes. In these games now, like in Contra, you die and then you learn from all your mistakes over again.
And you get 2 lives. That's it.
Yeah. And the thing is, they put you back in the beginning.
At the very beginning. And then when you run out of continues, you got to play the whole game over again.
Right. And that's why I think it's hilarious when people say Dark Souls is a sick game. I was like, you know what? Then every game in the 8-bit era is a sick game.
I was going to say, people will mutilate themselves trying to play Contra 3. Or Hardcore, for that matter, on the Sega.
Hardcore, man, is hardcore. No, 100%. So.
Quote an old friend of mine, really quick. Making games harder is a complete waste of time. That's exactly what he said, and that made me sick to my stomach.
That's what made games fun for me back in the day.
Yeah, it's that satisfaction of hard work, and effort.
Yeah.
Much like as you mentioned earlier, God Hand.
Exactly. And I think that's why I haven't really been enjoying gaming as much as I used to this past generation, is because everything's handed to you. I can't get down with it.
When my nephew can beat Grand Theft Auto 5, but he can't beat Super Mario Wii U.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I don't know. He
do something about that, man.
Spokes through Grand Theft Auto 5, but can't beat Super Mario.
Hey, man. I look at it like this. God willing, I have kids. I'm going to stick a SNES controller in their hands and tell them, here, start with this first.
Yes.
You start with that first. Everything will make sense once you catch up.
Whenever I get a kid and he wants something from me, I'm going to ask him to beat Omega Rugal on Ultra Hard on King of Fighters. See if he can do that. And if he can do that, I will bow down.
You mean like 98 Ultimate Match?
Yeah, I'm talking Omega Rugal on the 8 stars.
Yo, that's some boss rage right there.
That's cruel.
I'm not. SNK bosses are they're like, it's like fighting Skynet. They know everything before you're gonna do it.
That sounds like Guilty Gear bosses.
Yeah. Oh man, I remember fighting Ino for the first time.
Oh my god.
You even had to remember where her waves were going. Otherwise, you just get chipped to death. It's crazy. But I'm just saying, man, kids have it easy these days. I mean, I sound like an old man because I am. I'm just saying, but they have no room to complain.
Man, gotta become an old head sometimes.
I'm just saying because the struggle is real, but they don't know the struggle that they have is so much easier than ours.
Oh, they have no idea.
Exactly. They have no idea.
Like, everybody's crying about Dark Souls, and I'm just like,
really?
Contra 3? Mega Man 3, for that matter?
No, see, the thing is... Okay, think about it, guys. When you play Dark Souls, how close is it to the original Ninja Gaiden on Nintendo?
I was just about to say that, too. Original Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah, when you die, you go back to the beginning of the stage, and every monster you kill is come back.
And not to mention, they keep spawning if you go off screen, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to bring it back around to the PS2, I think that's another thing that makes the system and the library of games for it so so impactful. Because for old heads like us, there are still plenty of games that bring back that classic difficulty and that feeling of accomplishment when you actually make it to the end of the game. Again, stuff like Zone of the Enders and Second Runner, Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. Let's see, Samurai Western. Just
Beautiful Joe.
Exactly, Beautiful Joe, Okami. There are just so many games that have enough of the old, but have enough that's paving the way for the new stuff that's to come out later, that it really cements its place in history.
And that's why I think Dark Souls and games like that have a nice following, because I think the people that play that game, they know that it's like next gen or current gen graphics and design with the gameplay mechanics of the 8-bit era. And they understand that, and they love it. People that love Dark Souls love Dark Souls. There's no casual Dark Souls player.
Yeah, because you get that sense of accomplishment. You fight a monster and it's kicking your teeth down your throat, and then you finally beat his behind, and you're like, yes, I did it.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's like psychoanalyzing it. It's like people that like Dark Souls love hard work and love that feeling of achievement. Because as soon as you beat a boss, you're like, man, I finally beat this boss. Then you realize, man, I gotta beat another one in a minute. So you get that glory, and they take it away from you really quick.
Seriously, you wanna know what that pretty much reminded me of right there? That exact quote. Yes, I beat the boss, but I got another one coming up. Mega Man X7.
Oh yeah.
Oh my, that blasted hyena. I swear to God, by the time I was done having to fight that thing, if I heard someone say, burn it to the ground one more time, it was going to be a reenactment of a scene from Hancock.
I've got to get my hands on those games, because I've only played the Mega Man X games up to 5.
Well, you know what? Because don't they have a Mega Man X collection that has all of them except...
but it only goes up to 6, I believe.
Yeah. Then, again, 7 or 8 are hard to get, guys. Just to let you know that 8 is running at I think $60 right now.
Sheesh.
And 7 is following like a good 30, 40, and that's used, so that's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
That sucks.
Yeah, that was the end of the Mega Man era, unfortunately, man. Command Mission was like around there too.
Oh my God! You had to remind me of Command Mission.
And that's the thing. It's like Mega Man is such an important character in the Capcom library, and they won't utilize him for some reason.
And that pisses me off, because I love Mega Man.
Dude, millions of people love the Blue Bomber. Millions, and yet they're releasing games that make no sense.
Yeah, like 60,000 alterations of Street Fighter 4. You don't need that game.
Right, dude. If Capcom even made like a Smash Brothers game for their characters, it would do really well.
Yo, just Capcom All Stars.
Yeah, Capcom All Stars. If they did me and Ace have been dreaming about Capcom All Stars. If they did like a Marvel versus Capcom type with Capcom characters, that would be the game that bring Capcom back to the map. Because
I lose my mind.
Because every character in the game is another game. Potentially, if people play the game, they're like, man, what's this game? What's this guy from? Oh, this game, Asura. Oh, he has a game. I'm gonna get that too. See, that's what they don't understand. But yeah, go ahead.
That one game, that if Capcom had actually went ahead with something like, a Marvel, that sort of hyper movement style from the Marvel vs. games, but with an entirely Capcom-centric roster, that's not only so many of their franchises being revitalized just through sales, but it's, again, those franchises actually being able to hit that 2 million unit sale mark, so that way they would consider actually making sequels for said franchises like Dragon's Dogma and God Hand, and hell, maybe even making another Command Mission.
And that's what I mean, man. I don't understand their business model, their business plan. It makes no sense to me.
They don't understand their business model or their business plan.
Yeah, they don't. Here's the thing. I think they do understand, but they don't understand their audience. that's the thing. It's like they want to capture the Call of Duty crowd, like I said, you know,
Yeah.
and that like the money making crowd, the crowd that brings in money all the time. But the thing is, like, people that love Capcom, I mean, I'm talking like capital LOVE, love Capcom for the characters they built, designed, and their legacy. You know, why don't they think that DuckTales Remastered sold really well? Because people that played it back in the day want to play it now. You know, like,
Exactly.
and they don't understand that. You know, like which makes no sense to me. It's because you know what it is? They're just getting too greedy. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, that's their biggest problem.
Like
Getting too greedy.
they're trying to go for their Call of Duty crowd, but at the expense of the loyal Capcom crowd.
Right.
See, what they need to understand is that as of right now, Call of Duty doesn't even make Call of Duty numbers anymore. People are getting fed up with that garbage.
Yeah,
It's the same game.
It all started with Ghosts, you know, and
Yeah.
because the thing is with Ghost, the way I try to sell it at the store, because God, we got so many copies of it that haven't sold yet, is that there's the Black Ops crowd, and when the Black Ops crowd transitioned to the Ghost crowd, check it out, guys. Here, this is why it didn't sell well. I don't know if you guys are ready to hear this, but Ghost did not sell well because it was much more different than Black Ops 2. See the irony in that?
See, I almost got pissed for a second. All right, let me dial it back. Okay, see, now that I have a problem with that for the simple fact that when the game releases, the first 3 months everybody's in love with it, and then they're mad saying that, oh, the game is the exact same game as the last game. Now they finally get something that's kind of sort of different, and now they're mad about that.
And you know, and that's the thing. And if you look at the numbers and statistics of all the Mario games, and this is actually from a YouTube channel called Game Theory, titled "Are Gamers Killing Games?" It's proven that if you stray away from the original Super Mario formula of the side-scroller platformer, the sales on any 3D Mario game decrease by 30%. So Mario 3D World, Mario Sunshine, Mario Galaxy, all those games sold less than the new Super Mario Bros. Wii and New Super Mario Bros. Wii U. So what the guy was trying to say was that, like, people ask for something different, but yet they buy what's similar.
They buy what's familiar.
Exactly. So it's kind of strange how we're like, you know, it's the same game. Yes, that's why it sells well, unfortunately. And so what happens is when Ghost transitioned to be like, you know, we want to make something different. We want to change it up a little bit. And look what happens. People are like, man, this is garbage. It's nothing like Black Ops 2. And that comment right there should just tell you what people want. It's nothing like Black Ops 2. So they don't, and ultimately people don't know what they want until you give it to them. You know, and that's kind of what Capcom needs to do. They need to just start making all these games. They need to make some games, 100%. And, you know, especially from the PS2 era. Man, give me another Chaos Legion. That'll be great.
Oh, please. Please.
You know,
I'm fiending.
You know, and to me,
throw in my copy right now, damn it.
No, I'm telling you right now, I'm pretty sure it's much more, it's easier said than done. But if you have the NT framework that they use on Sengoku Basara, and they just make Chaos Legion, it's gonna be great, and it could be another great franchise they start. You know.
I'm gonna lose my mind here just thinking about
Breathe, Ace, breathe.
I'm trying.
I'm telling you, man. The people that are fans of Capcom have all these great ideas, but yet Capcom is like, we're a business. We've been making games forever. You guys don't know what you're talking about. You know, that's kind of how they think, and I think that's because primarily the development comes from a Japanese standpoint, which is of course a cultural barrier, and you have to respect that. But at the same time, they don't know their audience. They don't know their crowd. And what they see is, oh man, all these people bought Call of Duty. They made a lot of money. A lot of people must love Call of Duty. They make that, you know, that connection. But what they don't understand is that people that like Capcom games probably don't like Call of Duty. You
It's
know?
like
Exactly, like
thing with Bravely Default.
Yeah. You know, I was surprised to read that the president of Square Enix was like shocked to see that Bravely Default sold really well.
Like,
yeah,
bruh, why do you
that
think
got me.
I was like, are you been like that forever? Yeah. I was like, he was so
Exactly.
shocked that Bravely Default sold so much more than what they expected. I was like, dude, that's your bread and butter. You've been doing that forever. Of course, people
But
love
see,
that.
that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, it's similar. It's reminiscent to the old style of games, but their mechanics, like the Brave and Default system, makes it feel like an entirely new game. So, I mean, all they have to do is just give us turn-based fighting mechanics. That's all we really want, and exploration.
I agree. I agree with that. And I think they're finally starting to understand that. That's why their big two babies right now is Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3. And so what they're going to do is I think they're going to supplement those releases with smaller titles. Could be mobile, could be handheld, with those like Final Fantasy old school style gameplay, So.
Right. Yeah, I'm really hoping that they would make a Final Fantasy game with all the pretty graphics and things of that nature, but just give us the turn-based combat, please.
And you never know, guys. We might get something like that. We might get like an offshoot of something, And it just really depends on if these guys are really desperate.
Honestly, and what I'm about to say is probably not the most popular opinion amongst Final Fantasy fans, but my favorite game to play, the one that was the most fun and the most engaging for me to play in the series, outside of 6 and 7, was 10-2.
Yeah, gameplay-wise, it was amazing.
Yeah, and I agree with you, 100%. I agree with you guys on that.
Oh, yeah.
The gameplay reminded me of Final Fantasy V and Tactics.
Yeah. That's pretty much what it was Final Fantasy V. Just
yeah. And and it was cool. I think it was cool. Like, it was presented really well. It was like it reminded me of, like, when you're Sailor Moon, whenever you change outfit. It was kind of cool, But like after a while, like I just couldn't stand the writing. That's all.
Yeah, that's that game's only setback is the story.
Yeah.
And the character progression was terrible.
And we're not even going to talk about the radio drama that takes place after that.
Right. To be honest with you, when they wrote that game, somebody was probably watching Charlie's Angels.
Probably.
Yeah, I already did a video on that.
We all know in this room that's something that was the major downfall of that game. But overall, it was actually a pretty decent game.
But yeah, gameplay-wise, it was phenomenal. The only thing that was missing was summons. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! If they had actually had like a straight-up summoner class,
that'd have been fantastic. I'm really hoping in Final Fantasy 15 that they'll bring that back, because summons have been, or eidolons, if you will, have been missing for quite some time now.
Yeah, I think in 15 they're gonna make those things like super OP, like town destroying, because it's like if you look at the trailer, Adamantoise is gigantic. And I was like, good God, how did they ever fight you in Final Fantasy 4?
Well, I mean, come on, in Final Fantasy 13, just in 13, the Adamantoises were pretty stinking huge.
Yeah, they're
they were.
Great, man. I can't wait to see like behemoths, and Behemoth is a really staple character in Final Fantasy.
We've already seen the behemoths.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the behemoths in that trailer. Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
right.
They look ferocious.
Trey just had a really good one talking about the Malboros.
Oh no!
Yo, please,
I hate those things so much.
I hate those so much.
Dude, Malboros. Can you imagine if there was a Malboro King, and that was like a boss, and all it did was like the way it killed you was it just kill yourself because it's all the statuses put it on you.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you fight a Malboro with no ribbons equipped, you're screwed.
Yeah, man.
And even worse, man, the little green turtle-shelled hellspawn they call Tonberry.
Those are very dangerous.
Those things.
I remember my first encounter with those.
Yeah, I believe those were the most dangerous in Final Fantasy VIII.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken.
I actually ran into them playing 7 once, and it was my first time ever going through it, and I'm like, this thing can't be that hard. I mean, look at it. It's like a little imp. So I'm like attacking it with like every spell, Comet 2, Limit Breaks, I had Omni Slash at the time. I used Omni Slash and somehow he didn't die, and I'm like, what the
all of a sudden, knife, boink,
Suddenly,
and then you're dead.
suddenly, one knife kills Carl. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just like in panic mode, trying to like revive him, trying to play. And it
Yeah.
my whole party. I was so
When
mad.
When you first fight him, you're like, this guy's all slow. He doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And they poke you, and you're like, 9999. You're like, what?
Hey, GQ, just noticed that you're in here twice, man.
Yeah, it's weird because my thing glitched on me, and I had to log back in. So
Alright.
I'm GQ-ceptioning right now. I'm gonna go ahead and log out here. Oh, there we go.
Don't worry, I got that taken care of.
You got it. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Final Fantasy IX. I didn't get to mention this in the first stream, but Final Fantasy IX is one of the most underrated Final Fantasy games of all time, in my opinion.
You know what? I think every Final Fantasy is unique, and my take on Final Fantasy IX is like the Disney edition. You know, and it's not a bad thing. It's just like the way that everything was designed-wise. It felt like you're playing a Disney like Studio Ghibli movie. You know, which is good. I think I like it. And the characters were kind of funny, and they were all they're full of character. You know, Steiner and Vivi and all of them. You know,
It was a real nice throwback to the old school.
Yeah, you know, and after two serious Final Fantasies, it was good to have something more, you know, a little bit more chill.
Right. Well, I definitely welcome the old school level up mechanics because the only drawback for Final Fantasy VIII, in my opinion, was the draw system.
Yeah, you know, the thing with that was I was kind of weirded out by that at first because I felt like you can break the game by just like having 99 draws or something.
Yeah, and not only that, you can also refine magic from cards and things of that nature, so you could become pretty overpowered fairly quickly.
Yeah.
That is if you're not spending all your time playing the card game.
Something that I wish they would bring back from Final Fantasy VIII. I'm not sure if many people are aware of this, but the monsters actually level up as you level up.
Yeah.
And I hope they bring that back because the one thing that bothers me is going back to an earlier area and just being able to mop the floor with everything.
Yeah, actually having monsters that level up along with your party, it really adds something to the game. I think it really adds that sort of old school challenge that we want to see, that a lot of us want to see in our games.
Right. It kept you on your toes.
Because it's like, okay, now that I've actually gotten this much stronger, if I go back to one of the earlier areas, then what might those enemies actually be able to accomplish? But speaking of underrated games, especially, again, going back to our core topic, talking about the PS2, a lot of the more, I guess you could say, vintage, a lot of the more signature Japanese games. I mean, sure, Katamari is decidedly Japanese. But when Katamari Damacy came out and people started picking it up because they were just going, what kind of digital acid trip is this? You know, people picked it up and that thing blew up. But then you have games that comparatively flew under the radar, like Digimon World Data Squad, and of course one of my personal favorites, which, you know, it'd be hard to just keep it down into the double digits considering the 4,000 game roster this thing has. But one of my personal favorite PS2 games, though, was Monster Rancher 3.
I never actually got to play that game.
Man, that was the Pokemon before Pokemon.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And
another PS2 game that flies under the radar. Well, it didn't start on the PS2, but Suikoden 3, fantastic game.
You know, that series itself is a pretty good seller at our store, and a little bit of trivia is Suikoden 2 is the only one that never went digital, and so a copy of that used complete is about $150.
Wait a minute. So Suikoden 3 is on PSN? It's digital?
It could have either been digitally remade or put on like a compilation with something else. It should be on there
Bro,
something.
I'm getting on my PS3 right now.
Yeah, because I remember like 2 was so expensive just because the fact that it wasn't digitally put in anything. That's why it's the only way to play it is to actually get the disc.
Yeah, I'm about to look this up right now.
It looks like 2 is actually. Well, let's see. There's stuff from. I'm seeing links from PlayStation.com, Kotaku, Amazon, IGN. Huh. There we go. Silicon Era. Let's check it out. This was from back in April. But apparently Suikoden 2 is going to be re-released on the PSN.
Ah, is going to, right? So
Well,
it's
again,
not
this
out yet.
was, well, again, this was
I'm getting
back.
it.
This was back in April of this year. They mentioned it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good because right now.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, because Suikoden 2 is $164 at least.
Woof.
No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Brutal.
And that's kind of one of the things that people that love hard copies hate is that when something goes digital, the value of it goes down. Which I don't think. I mean, I don't think that's to me. If you have something because you love it, not because of how much it's worth. You know.
True.
And to anybody that loves video games, all the games that you love are priceless. You can't put a price on it. Like MGS. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I would rather the games be fairly affordable so people can get their hands on it. That way, people will talk about it, and hopefully, a sequel could be in the works.
Yeah, and that's kind of I feel you on that as well, and that's why I believe that digital is important as well. Like I understand that people love their collection, they want it to have it worth a lot of money, but a lot of people don't have that kind of money. Like for example, some of these Super Nintendo games that cost thousands of dollars. No one's ever going to own that. No one normal is going to own that. You know, so that's why emulation is important. You know, that's why you can play those games that are not that great, but they cost $3,000 a cart. You know, so
Yeah.
in this case, you know, I think it's important that they do digital because that way, when something sells digital, like for example in this case, I think Konami still owns Suikoden, right?
Uh-huh.
Konami will see all the digital sales for Suikoden 2 and they'll be like, "Oh my God, why are we selling this much Suikoden 2?" You know, and hopefully someone in their PR department is looking it up, like, "Oh, that's because it costs 150, you know, in a game to buy." So they don't make any money off those games that are $150. By the way, they make money off the digital sales. So what they're doing is they're taking their power back from the consumer and having it directly go to them, so new games can be funded. You know, maybe they were like, "Oh man, we sold this many copies of Suikoden 2. Let's make a new Suikoden now, since everybody's been playing this game." You know, that's kind of how that works. Like I said, after they get your first $60, that's all they care about. Because anytime after you resell a game, that doesn't affect the developer. It affects the person that's selling it.
15 years later, I still can't find an original copy of Chrono Trigger.
You can for $98. Man, what you need to do, Dorian, you need to hit up all your garage sales around your area.
Seriously, garage sales and Craigslist, man.
Garage sellers don't know how much games are. If you see Chrono Trigger, it'll probably be there for $10.
I was going to say you could probably find it on Amazon as long as you search under the used tab.
Yeah, because we sell it at our store for $98, and that's used.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's the original cart, 100%. It looks great, you know, but the thing is, like, it's a really super popular Super Nintendo game, and the problem with RPGs, why they cost so much on Super Nintendo, is that as soon as the battery dies on it, people just throw the cart away instead of replacing the battery.
No!
That's exactly what they do, and that's why those games cost so much, because as soon as the battery dies, people are like, "Oh, it's broken." They throw it, and then the value of it goes up because there's less circulating in the market.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how that works. It's silly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, even if I had a broken cart of Chrono Trigger, I'd keep it for display.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, my batteries have died on my Super Mario Worlds, and I still have those.
Right.
Why would I throw that away? It's a classic.
Man. Exactly.
Heck is wrong with people sometimes.
And that's how you differentiate like each specific gamer. There's a lot of different gamers out there. Some people like love Mario games, and let's just use Mario. people have a grown fondness of Mario, when they grew up with Mario, so they'll go ahead and buy a retro system with Mario, and they'll play it, and then all of a sudden, let's just say the battery dies, and they're like, oh man, well I guess that's broken, and then they'll never worry about Mario again. They'll buy another copy, instead of trying to fix it. Because they're not attached to the game itself, they're attached to like the memory that gave them from the game.
Right.
So, yeah, that's some deep thoughts.
It was like replaying Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah,
Like, it was great when I was like 8 years old, and I was like, oh my god, this new adventure, because I never had a Pokemon game before and everything. And then like when I found out I could just download it and play it again, I'm playing it. I'm like, oh, this is cool,
Yeah.
But
You want to hear something? You want to hear something sad?
oh my god.
Do we?
I don't know.
The first Pokemon game that I have actually played, like kept long enough to play all the way through and want to do everything post game as far as training and breeding and everything else. The first game that I have actually wanted to do that with was Pokemon Y.
You know what? And I
still on that for a bit.
I kind of believe
Wait,
that.
whoa, hold on.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Ace.
Holy crap. Oh, God.
Here's the thing, though. Let me explain it to you this way. Me being an old head as far as RPGs go, I couldn't really find myself connecting to. I couldn't really find myself connecting to so much of the story in any of the earlier Pokemon games. I mean, I had tried. I tried with Red and Blue. I tried with Diamond, Platinum, and I couldn't really find myself getting into it. But then I picked up Pokemon Y, started playing it a little bit, and just like basically over the course of that tutorial segment in the first town, when you're getting your Pokemon, when you're getting your first Pokemon, it really brings home that sort of it pulls you in because it emphasizes the connection that you as a trainer are supposed to have with your Pokemon, and it's like, and I'm thinking, this is what I've been waiting for in a Pokemon game. Not just finding and capturing the Pokemon, but actually having my favorites along for whatever the story, whatever the adventure might be over the course of the single-player game, and to really be able to build up that bond with my Pokemon to turn us into essentially a well-oiled, a fine-tuned team.
Okay, I had that wrong then. My experience is reversed. I played the old school Pokemon games. I didn't play. I haven't played many of the new ones.
When I haven't played Pokemon since Yellow.
Yeah, same here. I played Yellow, and that was it.
And and of course I'm roommates with that Asian kid. He's the Pokemon connoisseur here, and he's played all of them, and he's crazy like that. And so what he tells me is that ever since he picked up X, he actually loves X because they kind of went back to the Pokemon roots, but they kind of made it modern. Like that, like we talk about how 8-bit gameplay with like next gen graphics. Kind of like, let's just say that River City Ransom Underground. And so I was like, what do you mean? Well, what he said was that like, well, it felt like you were playing a Pokemon game back when you were younger, and there's not a lot of BS in between.
Exactly.
Because what he told me that since like I think ever since after Ruby and Sapphire and then all the DS ones, like they added a lot of BS that didn't need to be in there. That you just need to focus on capturing Pokemon and having fun in the game and beating the trainers and stuff.
Beauty contest.
So they said like it was to me Pokemon X, because I bought Y like Ace did, and the way I felt when I was playing is like I felt I was playing Yellow because I wasn't distracted by all these like side quests that I had to do that deterred me from playing Pokemon.
Yeah, they were still there.
Yeah,
but
like it was like almost like bare bones Pokemon. which it's not, you know, like you need to build up your team. You need to breed if you want to breed, you know. And then it was still there, but it wasn't mandatory. You know, like I think like he said, that Asian kid said in like Pokemon White or White 2 or something, you had to like learn specific abilities with each Pokemon so you can cross a level. And I was like, dude, that sounds rough. Like they're force grinding you to do something so you can move on to the game, you know. Well, in
All
this
of that
one
sounds delicious. I'm gonna have to go buy Pokemon X now.
yeah, Pokemon X is
Yeah,
pretty
me too.
good. And keep in mind that Alpha Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire come out on the 21st
True that.
of November.
Yo, I just heard a Capcom jingle. Who was that?
Ringtone.
That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it's great, right? Yeah. All right, here's a piece of trivia for you. What's that thing called that in those Capcom games that looks like the windmill? That's worth like 1,000 million points when you pick it up.
Oh my.
First one to answer gets $1 million bison dollars.
So valuable.
Dude, it's like right there on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't.
That was the thing that you shot, like you invisibly shot, and it would pop up after a while.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Go on, let's do it.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna hate myself when I hear the answer. Dude, I give up. It's not coming to me.
Nice.
Here.
Hold on a second, guys.
Just go ahead and mute your mic for a little bit, man.
Hey Sarah, what's up?
Or not. Oh wait, there we go. Oh, damn it! Come on, Nelson. Think. Think. Ugh. This is going to bother me. Seriously, this is going to bother me so hard. It's like right there.
It's not coming to me. I know
It's on the tip of my tongue, but it's not coming.
I know what he's talking about, but it's not coming. Dude, what's the answer? This is killing me.
Oh, you don't see it? It's right. I posted the link
I
on
don't think about it either.
group chat.
Son of a bitch.
It's called a Yasichi.
Oh. Crap.
Yeah, those things are amazing.
Speaking of, again, just that extensive PS1, PS2 library, I remember actually picking up the Strider 1 and 2 collection for the PS1, but that was when I had already had my PS2.
Hold on, there's a Strider 1-2 collection for the PS1?
Yeah, when Strider 2 came out for the PS1, it also came with the original. You had to unlock it.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the name collection is a bit deceptive. It came with Strider 2.
I was already on Amazon trying to look it up.
I have to have this. How many of you guys played the new Strider that came out? Yeah, it's really good.
And here we go again. That's what I'm talking about. Old school gameplay with new mechanics. It's crazy. I swear, like when Capcom does like these like testing or like these field tests or whatever, they don't pay attention to the right people or something.
No, they don't. So I mean, when you have to get your fan base to hold up dollar bills to see if they really want a game or not, that's a bit ridiculous. They know we want Darkstalkers.
Yeah.
Or like with all the older Final Fantasy and Chrono Trigger properties, when your fan base is already in the midst of trying to do the work for you, and you just spend all your time and money stomping them out.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though? I mean, I was recently reading an article on Event Hubs with Yoshinori Ono. You guys know who that is, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And he's unfortunate right now. He's kind of like the middleman when it comes to the FGC and Capcom talking like Capcom HQ.
Yeah.
What he's saying is like, what he keeps telling HQ is like, guys, people want Darkstalkers, but HQ is going, do they? Because Darkstalkers Resurrection didn't sell for shit, That's kind of see the difference there, the difference in mentality. While the guys in HQ, all they look at is numbers and stats. Well, oh no, is actually in the crowds talking to people like, what do you guys want? And that's unfortunately that's the miscommunication that's always happening in the gaming industry when it translates from fans to the the publishers. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's still a business. And if they see that people aren't buying their stuff, they're not going to make new stuff. Unfortunately for Capcom, I think they're too busy making AAA titles. If they need to focus on smaller stuff that will build up to the AAA titles.
Or if nothing else, they've been too busy focusing on making AAA titles, but not Capcom titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it too, like I said, is that there's a lot of factors in what's going on, but the Eastern market wants to appeal to the Western market, and you can totally see that with, of course, DMC. Even actually, Dragon's Dogma is a really good example of that.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, Dragon's Dogma worked. It's a great game. The only thing I wish is there was some sort of co-op where another person can control a pawn, but and that's something that they need to see and hear as feedback from the community. And also, like, to be honest with you, if they put co-op in Dragon's Dogma, that already kind of like seals the deal for at least 2 copies sold for one group of people. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's kind of those are the things I feel like they're kind of missing out on, and I feel like they're not really listening to us just because they're too busy staring at a screen full of stats and numbers. But I'm just a consumer. What can I say? Anyway, PS2 games. Woo!
Yeah, PS2 games. I'm looking at the YouTube chat right now, and there's one game that was mentioned that just, like, as soon as I saw it, it floored me.
Mm-hmm.
The Bouncer.
Oh my! Ah! You awoken my inner rage for that game. Man, if you after this stream or during it, whatever you want, if you guys watch the trailer for The Bouncer, it is 100% different than the actual gameplay videos. It's ridiculous how much changed since the trailer came out. And I remember watching the trailer because the trailer was like guys doing flying kicks, hitting walls, there's wall splats, and just people flying everywhere with martial arts action in a bar. And I was like, man, this game is sick. This is awesome. And then when I played, I'm like, what the hell is ragdoll bullshit happening right now? Like there's nothing that I saw in the trailer that's in the game except for the pretty graphics. And I was really disappointed because I was hoping I would have got to play that game in the trailer, but I did not whatsoever.
It's almost like what happened with Remember Me. I mean, a lot of the concept work in the early, some of the earlier trailers for Remember Me showed just something that was so absolutely expansive. It was like it felt like a cross between the high-tech presentation of Watch Dogs with the open world feel of Assassin's Creed.
Mm.
And what we got with the game itself was just so claustrophobic.
Yeah, that's definitely the illusion of the trailer. That's for sure.
Stupid hype train.
And that's the thing. They got your money, right? They worked. That's kind of how it works.
Hype trains will leave you disappointed. Stop riding them.
Hey, I am not going to deny that I've written quite a few.
Yeah, and I'm also looking at the YouTube stream chat, and 9B,
Nine ball.
9ball, yeah. He said the game that could have been big but wasted. I agree with you, 9ball, because that game itself was fun. The story was kind of weird, but it was like still entertaining to me. It felt like I was playing Double Dragon. 100%.
Yeah.
You know, your girlfriend gets kidnapped, gotta get her back. Here's your bros. You know, like that's kind of what it was. But it was just executed so poorly, and you know, it's definitely a Square Enix remake. I totally love that. Thank you. You know, and wouldn't it be awesome if they kind of used the Drakengard formula for that? I think it would kind of be a little bit different, but it kind of be awesome.
How so?
Well, just because it would turn like you know, like if somehow they wrote it where you're like, but you know, you're bro dudes versus like hordes of guys and rumbles, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're talking, you know, Dynasty Warriors and Sengoku Basara style.
Yeah,
right?
you know,
Yes.
and I know Square can do it. They have Tetsuya Nomura will draw the crap out of those guys. Like he is the designer. That Tetsuya Nomura is designed to make you know, those kind of games as far as like design wise. Like he's got, because can you imagine the bro dudes from Final Fantasy 15 in like a Dynasty Warriors style? That's
Yep.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So the bouncer, come on, Tetsuya Nomura, make it happen.
I'm still waiting on a Final Fantasy Dynasty Warriors type game.
Oh my god.
Could you imagine Dynasty Warriors or Final Fantasy Warriors or Fantasy Warriors or whatever? That would be phenomenal.
Yep, and I would, and if they did it like they did Hyrule Warriors, where it's all like different series.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Put me in for Cecil. I'm in there already, 100%.
Yo,
Yeah.
yo, put me in for freaking Saban.
Oh my god.
Suplex the Doom Train all day, every day.
Dude, Kane and Cloud Strife all day. Let's go.
Yeah, Kane's legit. Kane's up there. My favorite dynamic duo is
Zidane and Orin.
for sure.
Oh yeah, Zidane and Orin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, Orin would be like
Orin would be.
Daho Doom.
100%, dude.
And we already know who they're gonna try to make to be like Lobo. They're probably gonna use Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll throw in Gilgamesh because he's kind of the warrior, you know.
Yeah, actually, you're right. That makes more sense for Lubu.
In every series, he's always like the guy that you have to fight, like a warrior you have to fight. That's like super
Right.
strong.
Yeah, either Gilgamesh or Odin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Odin.
Yeah, give him
You know
Lance
what?
for Final
Odin
Fantasy
makes
VII.
sense because he has a mount too.
Yes.
You know what? That's it. You know what? As soon as we're through, James, when you, me, and that bastard hook up later on, this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about like writing up a friggin' design document for this. This needs to be put down on paper somewhere.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna hit up Koei on Twitter and be like, "Hey, ever think about Final Fantasy and Dynasty Warriors crossover? 'Cause that would be fan-freaking-tastic."
As long as you're not looking for a Final Fantasy game, a Final Fantasy fighting game made by SNK, you're good.
Yeah, no thanks, no thanks.
Because right now they're suing each other.
Because I mean, they basically have the groundwork to do something like a Dynasty Warriors Final Fantasy crossover. I mean, just look at Dissidia.
Yeah, they take Dissidia, take Drakengard, you know, make a baby. There you go, man.
There you go.
There you go.
Yo,
Yeah.
I got the hashtag in the YouTube chat right now. This has to happen.
Oh yeah, so Crawler 333 said Dragon Quest Heroes. That's right. That's 100% correct. That is the Square Koei crossover.
I will have to pick that up.
Yeah.
I will definitely have to pick that up or at least look into it, because what that kind of reminds me of is one of the games I have on my PSP right now, Tales of the Heroes Twin Brave.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty much all the Tales games, like Tales of Legendia, Abyss, Vesperia, Exilia 1, everything up to Exilia 1 as a hack and slash game, and it's pretty dope.
Like a Tales All Stars kind of thing.
Yep.
Speaking of RPGs and those in that vein, Grandia 3 was pretty overlooked as well on the PS2.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like I was actually looking at the history of Grandia, and apparently when 3 came out, they passed the development to Square Enix, but before that, it was made by somebody else. Excuse me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I'm looking at all the Grandia cases at the store, and I'm like, oh, this one's made by Square Enix, and these ones are made by like I think when it first started, it was like Sega or something, because it was on a Dreamcast first.
Wasn't 2 made by the same company?
I'm not sure. You don't.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me grab my case real quick.
1 and 2 were. Excuse me.
Yeah, it was made by Sega.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, Grandium 1 and 2 were both Game Arts.
Yeah, Game Arts. Excuse me. Whoops.
Speaking of which, I should probably get back to.
Was it published by Ubisoft? Because I see their logo on the front of the case too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the. Let's see, Grandia 3.
Yeah, that was made by Square.
Yeah. Square Enix published it.
Okay.
Yeah, Square Enix published it, but it was still Game Arts.
Okay. Speaking of which, I'm just not getting around to playing through the first one, and I'm loving it.
You got the physical copy, or did you get it on PSN?
I got it on PSN, unfortunately. I'd love to have a physical copy of that, though.
I used to have it, but that was part of my old PS1 collection that came up missing. Not particularly happy about that.
Oh, trust me, I know those feels. When I moved in the house that I'm currently staying in, a lot of my stuff went up missing. Like my copy of Mega Man X, X4. I had Super Metroid is missing. I had a lot of stuff I can't find. So yeah, I know those feels.
Oh, and speaking of cartridges that I'm sure people would want to keep if they knew exactly what they were looking for. Sorry, if they knew exactly what they had their hands on. Cartridges that you should keep: Super Mario RPG.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Super Mario RPG was amazing.
And as going back to the whole, wanting to play something similar, but not really having so much success after changing up the formula so much. I think that's actually a large part of the reason why I didn't play any of the other Mario RPG-esque games like Paper Mario or any of the stuff beyond that, because I was still so enamored with Super Mario RPG. Just the way that, not just the story, but the way the game itself was executed was just, it was damn near flawless.
Yes, it was really good. And I think that's why I enjoy the Mario and Luigi games so much, because they're pretty reminiscent of that game.
Yeah.
The battle system is drastically different, but it still puts me in the mind of Super Mario RPG when I play those games.
Yeah. Oh, looking in the YouTube chat real quick. Going back on the topic of Operation Crystal Muso. Well, Nine Ball had a really good point. As long as it's not, Final Fantasy 13 Warriors, and I can see that in the sense of, what Mini Moon Sama followed up with by saying, at least with a game like that, you would actually be playing. You as the player would have more control, more agency.
I'm not sure if I mentioned this on stream, but I would be okay with Final Fantasy 13 if it had a different name other than Final Fantasy. Like, if it was a new IP, I wouldn't say a word.
Uh-oh. It's
loud.
It's about to get loud.
It's been loud. I just haven't been here yet.
What's up, Thomas?
I'm actually really, really sore. Like, oh my god, I just like.
Were you living with Lubu again?
Yeah. You know the problem is, Full keeps showing up in my kitchen talking about, oh honey. Y'all know the joke. Y'all know the joke. You know what was it? What were we supposed to get? Lubu with my wife or something like that.
Man, you missed it.
What?
Dude, here's what we're gonna be talking about once we get over to James's place later on.
Hmm?
Dude, Tecmo Koei and Square Enix need to get on making a Final Fantasy-based Dynasty Warriors game.
You're welcome.
What? Actually, no. Screw what era. They could do every Final Fantasy and Dynasty Warriors game. Like every last one of them. Like from 1 to like the Light Warriors to like what's 14?
No, but
whatever the hell 14 is.
But
Hell,
seriously,
the boy band for 15.
But seriously, we were talking about like taking like a lineup, like the lineup from Dissidia, but applying more of the Drakengard style gameplay setup to it.
Oh yeah,
there you go.
When I mentioned a Final Fantasy Dynasty Warriors crossover, I didn't mean just one game. I'm talking about all the characters from 1 to 15, include tactics characters if you want to.
There you go. Yeah. But that would be cool. That would be cool as hell. But the problem is, if the net play is stable enough, do you realize how many people play Cloud and Squall? There would be so many Cloud and Squall matches. I don't even like the idea. Ban them niggas. Because it's just auto ban. The moment you choose, nope. You get a message saying you chose wrong. Go choose something else.
You chose poorly.
It auto picks Kate Sith for them.
Dude, hey, you think it's a game? I'll play Kate Sith.
Gotta roll them dice.
I think the other person that you'd have to like really make certain nobody plays would be like, I don't know, if he was like choosable Gilgamesh, because
We're already talking about him being the Lubu of the game.
Exactly. Gilgamesh too strong. Gilgamesh too strong. 8 swords. Come on. And imagine, if you will, cause I don't remember any character in Dynasty Warriors having like 8 arms. I mean, the one thing that I just need to bust out a little Dungeons and Dragons on y'all. If you have an 8-arm or multi-arm character, make certain you have weapons that boost your stats. You know what I mean? Can you imagine having 8 swords boosting all your strength? Oh my god.
Well, you could make it to where he would only use maybe 2 weapons and like have his 8 arms for like a special.
That'd be cool.
That could work.
Kind of like, oh, dude, if we're gonna do that, you could also bring in a sword from Asura's Wrath, just because. Why not? Fit in.
Nah, but I mean, if they just go like pure Dynasty Warriors with the gameplay, though, I mean, think back to, well, not think back, but think about how they handled the gameplay in Dynasty Warriors 8. Just like as soon as you trigger the rage mode, that's when Gilgamesh just goes, "All right, it's time to fight like men." Let's go.
Let's go. Great. Now I got this song stuck in my head. Fuck, what is with everybody getting songs stuck in my head? Now I think it's let's go. Champion of the ballot box. Oh yeah, something. New achievement unlocked. Okay, really quick. Let me get caught up. Screw your favorite anime. Screw your favorite manga. Screw your favorite video game. Yes, Destiny is horrible. Yes, DMC Devil May Cry is a bad game, James. What did I miss? Screw your race. Screw your nationality. Screw your country. Have I forgotten any of my usual that I say here?
Well, let's make sure we get you completely caught up. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked the others. Your top 3 favorite or most memorable PS2 games, and I'm pretty sure I can guess at one of them.
Armored Core. For no other reason. That was a big family thing. Believe it or not, Breath of Fire. Not Dragon Quarter, although it was excellent, but I think it was 3, the one with the Yarai dragon or whatever. And that was an excellent game, but good lord, it took me like an hour or 2 hours to beat the final boss. And that was with like maxed out stats. That's with like 99 whales or whatever. I was just going at this dude, going, "Why won't you die?" And it was like one of the most breathtaking battles for me ever. And from the PS2 era, oh my god, now
there's one that I could guess at, and I'm pretty sure you'd agree with me if I know you as well as I think I do.
I shot one guy in the head, and his friend was right next.
Gungrave.
Why didn't I say Gungrave? Yes, Gungrave and Gungrave OD and God Hand all in one choice. In fact, let me go back and screw the first two. Gungrave OD and God Hand. There you go.
That's fair.
Breath of Fire 3 was special to me. You know, that was like one of those games where I don't know about the rest of y'all if y'all know this or not, but my family and I played a lot of game back in the day. Ace was part of that. You know, he was there for some of the Armored Core crap that we did, and like Street Fighter EX. Which one was it? 3?
Yeah.
It was Soul.
Street Fighter EX.
Yeah. You know, it was one of those games that you had friends over, and my parents were involved. It was really cool. That was one of the games that me and my mom played, was Breath of Fire 3. So for me, that's just special, hands down. But I love my mama, but fuck you, Gungrave OD, and God Hand. Oh, and fuck your mom. I forgot about that in all of my whole, list.
Wait, you forgot about Alejandro Fernando.
And fuck Alejandro Fernando for no reason. No reason. That reminds me, dude. Okay, so I got the first half. Okay, I ordered 50 books, right? Of The Generalist. Taboo 0 through 3.
Chilling.
And I only got 0 and 3 last week. And I was like, where the hell? What? Did they, not order it or something? What the hell? No, I ordered all 50, but they sent it to me in 2 boxes, which I got today.
Whoops.
That's why I had to pay off that P.O. box bills. Yeah.
But yeah,
I will be coming over to James just to fucks with him,
Yeah, that's pretty much what we've been going over for. Oh shit, it's almost 2 already.
Yeah, it's 1:55. I showed up. I thought I was gonna be here at least at 1:30. Like, who's ready for half hour of? Oh wait.
No, you late to the party.
I
we went over everything from the bouncer to Star Ocean, Roses.
Oh my god, that's
Suikoden.
Damn it. No, I ain't got nothing going on next week. So if y'all are gonna do this again next week.
Oh, don't worry. This bad boy's pretty much gonna post automatically to YouTube once we're done, so you can watch the whole thing over again.
Oh, and either GQ Asian Dude or you, don't forget to post it over at BitTrauma too.
Yeah, I will definitely remember to put the link up unless James is already on it.
No, it's your baby, so you go ahead and do that.
No, but I will be updating the BitTrauma website soon. I'm just having a little issue with the WordPress domain mapping. I've already contacted some people, and I'm just waiting for them to get back at me, and that sucks.
Oh,
WordPress is also incredibly good, so.
Oh, speaking of shilling, and speaking of games that are a good mixture of old with new, if you guys haven't been checking out a couple of the posts that I made on Facebook, in particular in the Big Trauma group and on my main page, I came across the Kickstarter for a game that was actually in development right now by a couple of indie devs out in I think it'd say they were out in New York. But if you want to either look for it on Silicon Era or check for the video on YouTube, look up, and I am going to type the name of the game in the chat. Celestial Tier, Demon's Revenge.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that vid.
So you did check it out?
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, pretty much this thing is going to be, well, they're developing the whole game using RPG Maker VX Ace, but the way it's presented kind of reminds me of Xenogears in that they're actually going the whole, they're doing all of the sprite work, and they're picking up their inspiration from stuff like Street Fighter Alpha, Martial Masters, Fatal Fury Special. I mean, the sprite work is straight up, it's straight up like high quality Mugen stuff, and it looks pretty good. And the combat system for it is sort of a priority turn-based like in Grandia.
I like Grandia.
Well,
I like
yeah.
a custom combo maker. I'm just saying. Wait, that was Grandia, right? No, I'm thinking Legaia. Oh my god,
Oh my god, Legaia 2 Duel Saga?
Yeah.
Speaking of grindy battle system, I still need to play Child of Light.
Mm.
A lot of people are playing that game and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's fantastic," and I'm like, "Yeah, these guys don't even realize that the battle system is ripped basically from Grandia."
Okay, that's definitely a reason for me to at least try it out.
Oh yeah.
I keep hearing for that I need to make the generalist video game because I have RPG Maker VX Ace. I'd like to point out. Humble bundle, baby.
Yeah.
$1 gets you everything.
Hey, works for me.
$1 gets you everything. It's like going to a dollar store and late at night. We got to get that rot gut, freaking coffee, that messed up cappuccino in a can, and the messed up roof. $1. Like, so this is like $1 for like 10 of them, but still.
Honestly, just thinking about it, I can only see a video game for the generalist going one of two ways. It's either going to play like Sengoku Basara,
Oh yes.
or it'll play more like Metal Gear Rising.
Well, the thing is, an RPG for the generalist could be really easy to do. The only problem is I suck at spriting, so I know a guy, but that's like one guy. You need like a whole team. And I know a team, but they're kind of busy doing something else. But we'll see.
Well, it seems like we're actually starting to, kind of wind down a little bit, and it is, of course, 2 o'clock, so 2 hours, I'd say that's a good enough amount of time, but I think considering, this is, again, the PS2, 12 years, damn near 4,000 games, we're definitely going to have to come back and cover some more of this next week. What do you guys think?
12 years.
Sounds good to me.
Came in the last 12 minutes.
Yeah, keep in mind there are a lot of great games on the PS2, but there were a lot of garbage ones as well.
Yeah.
Like I can only play ATV Road Fury at least 2 times, not 12 times with all the stuff they released.
Do you guys remember that crap ass hell freaking hoverboard game? There was a hoverboard game for that was horrible. It was so bad. It was like a Tony Hawk wannabe, but it was bad. It was like the storyline was so forced. Everything about it was forced.
There was a storyline in a hoverboard game?
Yeah, it was like you helped develop this hoverboard, and you had to like rah fight the power because the government or not the corporal political organization wanted it. So it's basically
they were trying to rip.
You know what? I liked this game when it was called F-Zero.
No, I liked that game back when it was called Jet Set Radio.
Yeah. Oh, somebody got their hands on Jet Set Future recently, and I was like, oh, lucky bastard. Jet Set whatever. It's good. I don't care.
All right, but since we are going to go ahead and wind down, I'm going to go ahead and let the panel shill for themselves before we close it off. So we are going to start on the far left with my dear cousin Dorian, a.k.a. Trey, a.k.a. Trinity Joe. Have at it, boss.
Dorian's Trey?
Yep.
What's up, dude?
I'm chilling, man.
We have never talked directly. We're just usually like messing around on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah, we always like just kind of goof off with
Yeah.
all types of shit. But
I saved you posted a picture of your face laughing. It was about something I don't even remember, but it's so good I saved it in my reaction folder. It's perfect, man. That was like something recently too.
yeah.
Like I know you're an atheist and I'm a Christian. I'm gonna pray for you not to go to hell or something like that. Something stupid. You were just like.
Fuck you! You make me sick. That was the line he said. Because he said something about gay marriage, and then someone retorted with that by using something from the same verse, and then the guy just like, fuck you! You make me sick, and I just where I fucking pointed at the camera. I was on my phone. I was driving my grandma around, and I was pointing at my phone and laughed. And whatever my reaction was, that's what I got.
It was beautiful, man. I mean, I'm sorry for busting in on you like this, but
Actually, to be quite honest, I don't even know what I'm really supposed to say here. This is actually my first time joining you guys.
Yeah, pretty much this right here is just where let the stream and everybody else know how they can get a hold of you if they want to like follow you on Twitter, or hell, you could talk about the Trinity Elite for a little bit.
Yeah.
Basically, where can we find you, and what are you trying to get famous for? That sort of thing.
Okay. I'm actually trying to be a novelist, but it would be really cool to be like like a game story writer as well. Um, the Trinity Elite is something I've been developing for uh, I think 8 or 9 years now, and it's just like actually the game that actually motivated me to write it was Final Fantasy VIII because I love the idea of having like a school where you train to fight monsters and things like that.
Mercenary school.
Mercenary school, yes. And and I'm trying to make that make a brand new story form with that with like a post-apocalyptic style of writing. But I'm still actually figuring out what it is as I'm writing it. So as soon as I know, you'll know because I've been like trying to think about this for years now. But if you do want to get in touch with me on Twitter, I think the best way to do that is it's called Dorian_SY because I'm still playing with like pen names and everything, and mostly I'm on Facebook, and, under Trey Satterwhite. So if you want to get in contact with me or know anything more, that's the best way to contact me. So yeah, that's
Hey,
it.
if you want to borrow one of my names, I got 15 of them, man. So I don't care.
Yeah, you can throw them my way. I'm down.
All right, I'll give you Tomulus, Dugulus, the Brocephalus, Partius Maximus. I don't party a lot, so you can have him.
All right. And next up, we have the Chi-Town favorite, GQ Asian Dude.
Alright guys, if you want to follow my work, I have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/GQAZNDOOD, Asian Dude. I also have a Tumblr. Tumblr is where I post all my video game opinions, journals, blogs, and also graphics that I design for multiple places at gqasiangaming.tumblr.com. And follow me on Twitter at GQAsianDude, and I post pretty much anything that I read on video game news as far as opinions go, thoughts, reviews, and also videos with these crazy fools, the hooligans, and other stuff that I call Too Asian for You with my roommate, that Asian kid. Keep in mind that I do also run I'm the assistant manager at the local game store here, so I am really busy at the times, but if you guys want any news on anything video game related, I usually get first dibs on them in my business email as well. So, but thanks.
All right, and then we have Omni. Go ahead, man.
Here we go again. Look, man, just check me out on Twitter, Mr. Nance at OmniCloudV7. My YouTube is the same thing, OmniCloudV7. And basically what I do is I just hop on camera and run my mouth about video games. Whatever's going on in the industry at the moment, I try to put my opinions on that and try to get other people's opinions together and just try to get the community to come together and be a community. As of right now, though, I just graduated college earlier this year, so I'm just focusing on trying to get my life started and focus on what's more important. So my YouTube channel is basically dead at the moment. So instead of subscribing to me, subscribe to these guys. Blazing Ace Nelson, GQ Asian, that bastard. Sub to these guys, check them out, and yeah, it's going to be great.
Speaking of that bastard, your turn. Oh, God.
Hello, everyone. I am that bastard from Bellingham. You can, of course, catch me at thepenismysword.com, not the other thing, www.thepenismysword.com. I know what it looks like. It's supposed to look like that. Every time I mention the joke about that story, Ace is the one who pointed out to me what it actually looks like. Fuck you, Ace. Ruined it, but on the other hand, I have rolled with it ever since then, and that it penetrates and stimulates the mind so very deeply, and it lingers. It does. You can also catch everything else I do from there, including I currently have a freebie up for you, The Generalist Taboo Zero, Cliché of Memories, as well as Part 3 of Killer 13, which is going to be published very soon. You can, of course, catch me at all sorts of events and stuff, once again, all at that website. Everything I do you can find at that website, unless you want to join my army. Then you go to dudersarmy.com, D-U-D-E-R-S, army.com. Go ahead and join. You can actually gain money back by doing certain items, or doing certain things, certain items. That sounded wrong for a moment. No, man, it's just cocaine. It's okay. I mean, it's books. Books. No, but I'm trying to get you high. Land of imagination. You're going there.
The previous story.
Now, but for real though, just catch me at the usual sites. The Hooligans with Ace. Messing around with 2 Asian for you, but of course also at BitTrauma, btrauma.com. Hit us up, check it out. Too. Otherwise, back to you, Ace.
And of course, before you end it, man, I'd just like to say I appreciate you having me out again.
Hey, absolutely, man.
Dude, hang anytime, bro.
And of course, y'all know me. If you don't, then you probably wouldn't be here to begin with. But I am, of course, Blazing Ace Nelson, the usually quieter half of the gruesome twosome known as the Hooligans. You can catch me right here on youtube.com/BlazingAceNelson. You can also find me on Facebook by the same name. You can also find me on Twitter at DangerCombo2012. All 3 of those places would be good spots to hit me up. I've been on Twitter a lot more with the whole Gamergate rigmarole going, but those would be the best places to get a hold of me if you want to just hear me rant on about video games and, of course, you know, like Omni, putting my opinion out there and trying to start the conversation and get the community to, once again, be a community.
You know, thank God for YouTube, because it's not even like I don't give a shit. It's just, don't get it wrong. I love the community. I love the people that, like y'all, you know, that's where I hang out with y'all. You know, y'all are actually trying to do something. Y'all are trying to bring it back to the way the community used to be. You know, before the SJWs, before Tumblr, before Sarkeesian, before all that. Shut up! Oh, fucking Trey over here.
I just figured that out.
The story goes that when I first logged that in, Ace came up to me one day talking about, that's so funny, and I'm like, what? And he goes, dude, he realized I'm being serious, and then he goes, we'll say it slow, and yeah. Yeah, I realized, oh, derp. Oh my god.
That's why if you are actually going to name something, make sure you run it by a 14-year-old first. You might want to chop it.
The list of villainy things, the list of villain tropes. I forgot that shit. My overlord was down.
But I'm going to end this like I always do. Thanks a lot for coming out, you guys. That bastard, GQ Asian dude, Omni, Trey. I am so glad to be able to get you guys on the stream. Thank you so much for joining. For everybody in the stream chat, thanks a lot for coming in. Thanks a lot for listening to us ramble for the past 2 hours.
12 minutes.
And you know, with everything that's going on, not just in the industry, but in life in general, it pays. It pays serious dividends to take time to yourself. If you are a gamer, get out there and play some fucking video. If you're a reader, get out there, find a good book. Read a book, read a book, read a motherfucking book. The Generalist, the Trinity Elite, Cross Swords, you name it. Just do what you love, because that is what living is all about.
I'd like to say that I had the honor of reading some of Trey's work. It's good stuff, bro. We already had that discussion, he and I, I'm just saying.
Yes, thank you.
So, until next week, this has been Gamer Talk with Blazing Ace Nelson, and remember, work hard, game harder.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you next time, folks.